Meow meow, Kitty My Scratch here. So today I'm showing you my January 2018 bullet journal setup. So for this month, I wanted to actually do a watercolor painting for the very beginning. And so that's what I'm doing right here, is I'm working on this painting for it. I knew I wanted to do like mountains and like trees and some water and the moon and some stars, because this month's kind of like very star kind of theme. So I thought that this would be a really cool way of starting off the month. I had a lot of fun painting this, especially because I was just trying out some new stuff. I mean, I've worked with some watercolors before, and I've done quite a bit with John, just us painting watercolors and stuff, but I haven't really sat down and worked with it a ton. And so I was just trying out some different stuff, like just completely saturating the area that I was painting and kind of working with like moving the paint around and whatnot. If you notice, I'm actually using watercolor pencils because I just felt like it would be easier to pull the pigment from them rather than getting out the tubes of watercolor paint. And here I'm actually masking off the moons after I got them painted. That way I didn't have to worry about screwing them up at all. So this will actually help me to be able to like paint down, you know, in those areas without having to worry about that. I have used masking with watercolor paints before, so I've had a little bit of experience with that. Here I'm doing the other little mountain that I drew, and this one I made a little bit more green as opposed to like the more grayish green on the other one. It also ended up a little bit darker too by the end of it. It's so much fun watching this all sped up. This overall, it took me quite a bit of time to paint this whole picture for my book. Granted, I really enjoyed it because I love sitting down and actually doing stuff like this. So this was like a really good excuse, a really good reason to sit down and work on this. As you can see, I use a little bit of purple. Well, this is kind of like a pinkish purple for the water and a light blue for the water, but I was trying to get like purple and blue for the sky and for the reflection of the sky. For the sky itself, I obviously am using like really like darker blues of purple. I debated on actually using some black in here, but I came to the decision that I wanted to keep it less muted and more just a vibrant color. It was a lot of fun to paint this. I'm really happy with how the colors turned out. Plus, in general, it was just a lot of fun. I wish it would have went this fast in the first place. I did enjoy the whole process, so I wasn't upset about it taking a super long time. But it's entertaining seeing this all sped up when it took me like well over an hour to paint all of this. I think it's probably about an hour and a half or 2 hours that it took me. Here I'm doing some grass and stuff. Eventually I'm going to try do like silhouettes of trees, but I wanted to be able to have like a little lighter green at the bottom. And I don't think I mixed any black in with this at all, because I didn't want it to blend in with the mountains. Was a lot of it. Here I'm using a white paint pen. It's got oil-based paint in it, and I'm using that for all the stars. It's really hard to see them in the water, but you can see them okay. But I mean, the water is pretty muted, or pretty pastel, I should say. And here I was just using the black watercolor pencil, and I would add some water and then get a bunch of pigment straight from the pencil right on, because I wanted them to be really dark. And I used a fan brush to kind of like get a better kind of branch, like I wanted to make the branches look better, and the fan brush seemed to work pretty well for that. It's a little bit harder to see on here, but you can actually see like lots of little like branches coming out from it. I absolutely loved how these came out in the end. And here I'm just doing some like little bushes, essentially is what it was supposed to be. and I just used brown for them. So there you go, now you can see what it looks like inside the book. And I used some really cute Galaxy washi tape that John got me. And I really loved how it turned out. It's even a little bit holographic, you can kind of tell. So here I'm doing my monthly overview. And I kind of based mine a little bit on how Amanda Rach Doodles did hers. I obviously changed because she had a different theme than I did. But I just continued on with the star theme with these. In my previous bullet journal, that was just a line journal, I actually just had them written out day by day, but I actually kind of wanted to have it where I could see it like this instead, and see if I liked that a little bit more. And then I played around with my new calligraphy pen a little bit. It's going to take a little bit of work because I haven't really practiced with it before, but I think I'm already, by the end of all this, I started getting a lot better with it. My plan is, you know, over the next month or so is to really sit down and practice with it. So here I've got like a little box for my events and for my goals for the month. And then of course I drew out all the numbers. I had a lot of fun doing the drop shadows. I really like how much better it looks. It looks just more polished and interesting. So I have a feeling I'm probably going to end up doing a lot more of that. This is another thing that Amanda had done on hers that I liked a lot. Here's my to-do list and my goal list. Well, it's my YouTube and Instagram kind of growth tracker for the month. And I drew out some more stars just to fill in the space. So I had actually found this on Pinterest and I really liked it a lot. And this is a sleep tracker. And I thought with how I was doing this month, it would be a great, it would work out really, really great with the theme. And then occasionally I have to go and count them out just to make sure I had enough. I don't remember how many was in the original one. I think it was less than 31. I kind of did my boxes slightly different. So when I get done with all these, I'll actually color them in each month to so you can actually see visually how many hours of sleep that I had. And of course I kind of continued in with some of the stars that I've been doing on the rest of the month. And here I just kind of made the outline of it a little bit thicker. And of course I drew in a bunch of little stars. It was a lot of fun doing this one. It took quite a while to get it done, and a lot of the ones I've been doing is taking a lot longer than I initially would have realized that it would have. But I'm still really, really happy with how they turned out, and it was a lot of fun. So this is going to be all the different colors that I'll use for whether it was 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 11 hours of sleep that I got that day. And then here I'm doing my habit tracker for the month. Some of it's going to be habits, some of it's just going to be just tracking stuff that I've done. Like, for example, I tend to take baths to relax, and so stuff like that where it's like I'm not trying to do it every single day, it's more of just keeping track of when I've actually done stuff like that. I'm going to list them at the bottom and then have actual habits listed up at the top. I'm not really sure what all I'm going to be tracking, and so I made this a lot bigger than I probably needed it to be, but this is mostly just for me to test out. Since I was struggling a little bit with my actual calligraphy pen, I actually just went back in with my Sharpie art pen and thickened up the letters a little bit, and I added in a ton of little stars. I just absolutely love the stars. And then I added like this, and the other washi tape that I had with the star theme. This is gonna be my monthly gratitude. I'm gonna write down stuff I'm grateful for throughout the month, and then my monthly doodle page, because I wanna be able to take some time to actually doodle out different stuff each month. And with my dream log and my memory log, and this is gonna be the start of my weekly section. Now I do actually plan on doing all 4 weeks at the beginning, and then having the rest of the space to use for my daily log. Although I'm only going to show you the first week, because I'll probably draw stars and stuff like that, and the rest of the weeks later on. Leave a little bit of something for me to work on. And then I plan on in each of these sections writing the highs and lows for the temperature, and then what the weather was and like what phase of the moon it was. So I thought it'd be fun. And there's my to-do list. I'm gonna leave the rest of the section open just so I can actually doodle in here. So here you can actually see the whole month, how it turned out, and I think it just turned out absolutely adorable. I am like so happy with how this turned out, and I can't wait to use this whole thing. Oh my gosh. And I'll probably doodle in here a lot more throughout the month. Well, I hope you enjoyed my setup for this month, and if you end up doing anything similar, be sure to tag me on Instagram. It's at Kitty McScratch. Be sure to also follow me on all my social media so you can be able to see pictures of my different doodles and different stuff that I've done in my bullet journal and be able to keep up with all that stuff. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this. Can't wait to see you next time. Bye!